Look at your body. What do you see? Do you think that's everything you are? Or do you think there's more to you than what your senses are telling you, specifically your eyes? I think it's possible that you're more than what your physical senses are letting you know. So if so, how do you think that's all related to our conscious mind and the existence of spirit? So if you're interested in learning the answers to all these questions, stay tuned to today's episode. Welcome to the Spirits Beside Us podcast. I'm your host, Chris Lippincott. I'm an ex-Wall Street analyst turned international medium, spiritual teacher, and best-selling author. Each week we'll dive into the fascinating and uplifting arena of the non-physical world to help you deepen your understanding and spiritual connection to the unseen realm. We'll also share a behind-the-scenes look with others who've done the same and speak with experts in the field about their experiences. Pull up a seat and let's dive into these perspective-changing conversations. Most people see our bodies as the dominant being, the dominant thing. Kind of think of it as the primary outer circle, right? With our soul kind of as our energy, sort of a small inner circle, and our spirit as essentially the spark. Think of it as sort of a tiny inside circle inside of us. Yet the reality is in fact reversed. Our spirit is our dominant being. Picture that as our primary and controlling outer circle. And that is followed by our soul. It's a smaller inner circle. And then lastly is our physical body, which is a tiny aspect of our being compared to all the broader, all-encompassing spirit, which is on the outside. Also, our aura, or our energy field, is an electromagnetic field that emanates from and surrounds our entire physical body. And the aura is composed of 7 primary energy bodies that each represent a different level of energy, and they correspond with a specific primary chakra. And each chakra is a portal of energy. It's a spinning portal of energy that is aligned vertically up and down your spine. Think of it going from above your head all the way down to between your hips, and it's a vertical line. And they each have different colors, and they each have different levels of energy. Now, your aura as an energy field is always on. Whether you're aware of it or you're not aware of it, it's always on. You can't turn it off. It's energy. You can't turn off energy, can you? So, for example, when you meet somebody for the first time or you're shaking their hands, don't you have a feeling about that other person? It might be really subtle, but you might have a feeling, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. And you don't have to be anything special. You just have a sense of whether you like that person, whether that's visual or otherwise. You get a certain quote-unquote vibe from that other person. You know, you could feel an immediate liking and an attraction, perhaps, or conversely, you could feel a really quick and immediate discomfort of that person. Now, the feelings that you're picking up is the auric energy field interacting with the other person's auric energy field, and you're sensing their energy. Again, whether that's positive energy or negative energy, it's your aura is connecting with their aura, and you're picking up the different energies. Now, each of our energy bodies that are together composing our entire aura are very much like concentric layers, one within the other, that interpenetrate each other due to the unique vibrational frequency of each one. It's very much like Russian nesting dolls that I spoke about several episodes ago for the spirit world, just 7 concentric circles. Now, the first 3 layers are related to the physical body. The second 3 layers are related to the spiritual body. And the last layer is the connection with the divine source, the great spirit, God, whatever name you want to attach to it, right? The highest energy as possible. And while each energy is layered on top of each other, it also is including each of the single layers below it. So, for example, layer 7 is also part of layer 6 and layer 5 just as layer 6 is part of layer 5 and layer 4, etc. So each one is part of each of the layers below it. So they're all one, if you will. And this is true all the way to the core, all the way down to the basic physical body as you go all the way down from the outside all the way to the inside. And the inside is our physical body. If you want to reverse the direction, you start with your physical body and you go all the way out. So your physical body might be level 0, and then you go to level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. Now, amazingly, that whole format, that replicates the layering in the afterlife as well, since the afterlife is really composed of multiple concentric layers within each other. And we spoke about that early on in this entire show. And that whole same format, that exists throughout all of existence. It includes the energies that are all around matter, whether it's alive or not, and it's every universal sphere from the planets to the stars, etc. So that same energy state, that same format, the same levels 1 through 7, it's happening over and over again. It's a repeating format of everything in existence. It just has different vibration states. So something like that is just too consistent and structured to have come into existence randomly, right? There has to be some intelligence behind it. There has to be some way that this came about. I'll refer to it as sort of like a refined organization. How did it happen? I don't know. Who or what created it? I don't know. But it certainly is an intelligent. That is definitely not something that was ever random. Randomness does not happen in such perfect order. So let's look at the different layers. The first layer is called the etheric body, and that layer is about 1/4 of an inch to maybe 2 inches away from your physical body. Remember, think of your physical body as being layer 0, the core, the basis. That's where everything starts. And then you go out say 1/4 of an inch all the way out to maybe 2 inches away from your body, and you've got that etheric body. And that energy body resonates at something that is near 20 cycles per minute. And it's perceived to be bluish gray, kind of a blue-gray color on the spectrum via the Kirlian photography. And you can actually take photos of these different energy layers through special, what's a metallic photograph. And the etheric body is really an exact template of our physical body, and it holds the blueprints to our organs, our muscles, our tissues, and our bones. So it's a replica, and it's the perfect replication of everything that we are right now. And with the death of the physical body, that etheric body carries the other bodies away with it, because remember, the etheric body is essentially the foundation, if you will. And so that etheric body carries the other 6 energy bodies away with it. Now, once the etheric body has dissolved, that's when the physical body begins to decompose. So the etheric body, if you want to think about it, is sort of like the support, carries the other bodies away. The physical body then decomposes as the etheric body begins to dissolve, leaving the remaining 6 energy bodies. Now, the second energy body that is part of your aura is about 1 to 4 inches away from your body, and that's called the emotional body. And the emotional body is a shape that is remaining in constant motion. Think of it as a layer around your body, if you will. It's constantly moving. It's constantly going. And any disconnect or any imbalance in that layer, in that second layer, is going to have a pretty heavy impact on the first and the third layers, because those are the first and third layers. Those 2 layers are on either side of it. So if there's an imbalance in that second layer, it's going to affect the first layer and the third layer. Now, speaking of the third layer, that third layer is called the mental body, and that's about 3 inches, maybe 8 inches. It depends on the energy. It's between 3 and 8 inches away from our physical body. And that layer is often around the head, as well as part of the shoulders. So think about it as a ring that is seen around the head and around the shoulders, not to be confused with dandruff perhaps, but it's something that's where you're going to see it. It obviously has a thin line going all the way around the body, but it's much thicker at the shoulders and at the head. And what you'll see quite often in Kirlian photography are yellow hues. I can remember taking having an aura photograph taken of me, and you could definitely see the yellow hues around my head and my shoulders. That you could really see the yellow. So sometimes when we've seen paintings of saints, for example, you'll see different colors of their halos. I think most of the saints and religious figures are white, and we'll get into that in a minute. But mine was yellow, so mine was around the third layer. So it's really kind of interesting. And I think there's some orange, but it's really interesting. If you haven't gotten an aura photograph taken, you should. It's something that's really fascinating to take a look at. Now, that third layer represents the beliefs and the power of understanding, and also represents the intellect and the thoughts. So if you're a person who's intellectual, or you're thinking, or you're searching for the power of meaning and what understanding is and all of your beliefs, that's essentially where it is centered. The fourth layer is called the astral body, and that's about 1 foot away from our physical body. And as the name implies, that's the link between the physical and the spiritual bodies. And that's going to be something that takes the energy to the astral plane, the astral layer. And it represents essentially the bridge between the spiritual realm, and it's also the doorway to the astral plane. So that's going to help you get to the astral plane and then beyond. It's just, again, it's a step function. So you get to one plane or level, and then you get to the next one, and so on and so forth. And the astral body is connected with our heart chakra. Our heart chakra is our fourth chakra. As the name implies, it's in our heart area. And that likewise is a bridge between the physical and the spiritual. So all of our chakras that are below our heart, from our root chakra to our sacral chakra to our solar plexus chakra, those are the lower material physical chakras. And the 3 chakras above our heart chakra are our spiritual chakras, such as our throat chakra, our brow chakra or third eye chakra, and the divine chakra, which is our spiritual chakra. That's the white chakra. And it's the astral body that enables us really to leave our physical body while we're sleeping. Because remember, I mentioned that that's actually something you can do. When we're asleep, the body is at rest, but the spirit is departing the physical body, and you're going off to the astral plane, the spiritual plane, on a temporary visit, if you will. Many people can also do this while they're in deep meditation. You'll hear about people having out-of-body experiences, and that's what's happening. They're in their astral body. They're going to the spiritual plane, the astral plane temporarily, because they're still connected, and they're going off into a different realm, different state. And that's what they're using. And that's really what the connection is. Now, while you're alive in the physical, you're still connected to your physical body. And that connection is something that's called the elastic spirit silver cord. And it's highly elastic, as the name would imply, that allows you to go to a different plane. And it's so elastic, it'll stretch and allow you to get to that plane. Now, once the physical body dies at the time of physical death, then that cord is going to separate from the chakras upon which it's connected, and that's when the spirit leaves the body. So that body, that astral body, is a layer that basically represents the ability to interact with people It also represents the ability to love. It represents kinship. Also, like the heart chakra, it's very healing. Now, as I mentioned, once the astral body has separated from our lower energy bodies, then our spiritual being or our soul has left for the spiritual realm. It's going from the astral plane, from our physical body. That's when it goes to higher level spiritual plane and spiritual realm. And the fifth layer is the etheric temporal body. And that's about 1 to 2 feet from our physical body. So that's 5 layers out. It's up to 2 feet away from us. And it's an entire template. And this is a spiritual copy of our physical body, whereas we had the first layer being the actual template of our physical body. This is a spiritual copy as opposed to a physical copy. So this is actually something that's very unique to each person. It's very much like fingerprints, if you will, because each person has a different set of fingerprints. So this is something that creates your unique body. So this is just as unique to each person as fingerprints are. And many people describe the fifth layer as a carbon copy of the physical body, yet it's in the physical plane. It's not in the material plane like the first layer, which is carrying off these other layers. This is a carbon copy of the physical body, but it's going into a spiritual realm, a spiritual existence, a spiritual rate of vibration. So it's much higher. And this fifth layer connects with our throat chakra, which is our fifth chakra. And that represents clarity. It represents vibration, communication. We're able to communicate, obviously, with our throat, but it also represents clarity and the ability to hear things. For example, one of the psychic abilities that mediums have when they're hearing sound from spirit, the clairaudience is based on the throat chakra. It's the ability to hear high vibration sound from spirit, and that's communication. So the more developed this throat chakra, the more developed the vibration there, the stronger the connection, the stronger the ability to have a good communication and actually start hearing sounds on a clairaudient basis, on a mental basis. We're not using our physical ears, we're using our mental, our psychic ears, if you will. And the sixth layer is called the celestial body, and that's up to 3 feet away from our physical body. So think about it as being 6 layers out and upwards of 3 feet or so from the body. And it's representing connectivity between the physical and the spiritual mind, and it's often achieved with deep meditation. So it's connectivity. It's a physical connection. It's a spiritual mind. And you get there with deep meditation. People say, how do I get to spirit? How do I connect with spirit? You're talking about meditation. And that's celestial. And when you begin to think about the celestial plane, or you think about the celestial heavens, as we've talked about before, that's quite often what happens. And think about the celestial layer. That's the 6th layer, even in the different layers of the spirit realm. Very same thing. Again, we're seeing this repetition over and over again, 1 through 7. Now, the celestial body, the 6th layer, especially in the aura, that's going to be seen often as a bright, shimmering, opalescent color, kind of like a pearl color. It's bright, it's shiny, it's kind of pearlish, if you will. And that's something that is often seen where I was talking about before, where you have many saints or religious figures were often seen with a halo. That halo is this celestial body with a sort of a white colored around their head. That's the celestial body. That's that 6th layer, the spiritual mind, the ability to connect the physical to the spiritual and even to the divine. And that brings it to the 7th layer. And the 7th layer is known as the causal body, C-A-U-S-A-L, causal. And that's upwards of 5 feet away from the body. Some people have that layer reaching out to about 7, maybe 8 feet, but typically it'll reach upwards of around 5 feet away from the body. So think about your own body and look out anywhere from 5 to 7 feet away from your body. That's how far away your aura is. Your aura can reach upwards of 5 to 7 feet away from you. That's why you can sense other people's energy 5 to 7 feet away from you. In the very beginning of the episode, I was talking about you go up to somebody and you sense their energy. They don't have to be touching you. They can be 5 to 7 feet away and you'll sense their energy. That's the causal body. And this layer is really something that it's very interesting. It's shaped like an egg because this is the outside of your aura. And everything else is on the inside, if you remember. So this is the outside of your aura. It's shaped like an egg. And it looks like it's gold in color. And this is something that gives you a sense of not only the shape, but also the color. The layer that is the memory of the soul is layer 7. That's where we're getting the memory. That's where we're getting all the experiences. And that's where we're getting something that is constantly getting, I want to put it as written down in a little book, if you will. It's basically the memory. If you remember the old commercials, is it live or is it Memorex? This is where all that would be recorded. And that's something where this is where the universe is connecting with the body. It's the link to, again, the divine source, great spirit, whatever you want to refer to it as. But that's the link between the human and the divine, the physical and the source. And it makes it possible to become one with it. And just like in the spirit realm, where the 7th layer, 7th level, 7th plane, is one of the highest planes before you reach the celestial heavens. That's the highest level. So the main takeaway about all this is that you're learning all about the energetic layers. And it's quite clear from that our energetic form continues far past the stage that we know called physical death, because we're energy, right? And after a human body experiences physical death, its energy remains. We're just energy. And energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So the energy remains. It just transfers its state, transfers its vibration. You want to compare it to a butterfly, and you want to compare it to even just having the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, same idea. You want to compare it to water melting and turning into ice, turning into steam, turning into plasma, same idea. It's just as Einstein said it would, that the states are changing, and energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only change shape. So the 7 primary energetic layers are representing that kind of energy, and that energy is carrying it into the spirit realms. So we are energy, and we're just changing vibration, changing states, and entering a different existence in a different vibration. We're not going anywhere. We're saying in existence, we're not going poof into nothing. We're staying in an energetic state at a higher vibration. So I hope that's all been helpful for you, because with a better understanding that we're more than meets the eye, we're more than looking at our body and saying, oh yeah, that's me, that's everything. We can begin to understand that we truly are spirit beings. And if you know Wayne Dyer, he had a great quote, and it is so apt, and it really fits this concept perfectly. He said, "We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience." So if you think about that, we're just spirit coming down into a human existence to learn human experiences, learn everything we possibly can from those experiences, and then we go back to the spirit world. We go back home. So we're here on planet Earth for a very short time to learn all these different things from the brutal experience of the human life, and we go back. And that's what Spirit has been telling us for so long. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Hope this was something that was useful. Hope it was something that was really something sort of that helped you change your perspective a little bit. And if you want more detail about the show and about some resources and different things that go into not only the specific layers that we have in our aura, but also the chakras, where they are, how they work, what chakras are, what the aura is. If you want more details on that, definitely take a look in the show notes, and I'll have links to all these different things. You can go to spiritsbesideus.com, and that'll have all the information and the resources and the links in the show notes. So now, stay tuned for next week, because next week we're going to discuss what are signs from spirit. And specifically, we're going to have a great invitation and a discussion with Irene Weinberg. Irene Weinberg is a celebrated author, celebrated host of her own podcast, author of many books, and she's going to be a fantastic guest, and I can't wait to talk to her about her experiences with spirit, her experiences with how they've been communicating with her, and so that'll be fantastic. Also, let me know what kind of topics you'd love to hear from. What are things you'd like to hear about? What are questions you have? Who would you like to hear from? What kind of guests would you like to have on the show? This is your show, so I'd love to have you give me some feedback. Reach out to me on my website, spiritsbesideus.com, and definitely I really appreciate you listening in today. So thank you for joining me today, and remember always to rate and review, because that way you're one of the supporters of the show, and you can tell others what the show is like. You can let other people know what the show is like. So with that, this is Chris signing off, and I can't wait to meet with you next week. So I will send you love and light. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Spirits Beside Us. Make sure you head over to the show notes for all the links and information on this week's episode. You can check it out at spiritsbesideus.com. If you love this episode as much as I did, head over to rate and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're looking for a community of spiritual seekers like yourself, make sure you join my Facebook page, Spirits Beside Us Podcast on Facebook. This is Chris signing off, sending you love and light. I can't wait to connect with you again on Wednesday.